Are you falling for the conspiracy theory trap? That's a real strategy. I think this might make perfect sense for you, and you might be caught up in the conspiracy theory trap. And when you find out what I'm about to tell you, the actual strategy behind it, ooh, things might make real sense on a high level. You ready for this? Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. What am I talking about? Well, I'm going to explain, first of all, what the ultimate, let's just say, plan for planet Earth for anybody on a low frequency would be. How do we create destruction and separation? Through fear. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this? I'm going to talk about a few of these conspiracies that make no sense. Now, conspiracy number one. This is actually one of my favorites because it's really out there. Chemtrails. Every time somebody sees a condensation trail, called a contrail, they say it's a chemtrail. Now, I've looked at these. They're actually passenger jets. I want you to think about this, because I have a relative who's a captain and many other friends who are pilots who actually laugh at this pretty hard. Did you know that any kind of chemical dousing or any dropping would have to come from a very special plane that's kitted for it? Did you know it takes thousands and thousands of pounds of chemicals to drop what people believe they are seeing is a chemtrail versus a contrail? Now that would mean that those thousands of pounds wouldn't allow the passengers on those passenger jets to be filled. In fact, all those seats couldn't be filled. They'd be way over their allowance, their capacity. You know that 5 pounds that they tell you to bring out of one suitcase to another? Because the weight of a plane and how it's balanced is very important. So if they were actually doing what you're told they're doing, that all those planes up there are evil, they're trying to poison us, then it would be literally impossible because they could not have full flights. And all of those planes, I think you should take a look at them and tell me where the chemicals are being ejected. Now, some of you are going to argue this because the conspiracy theorists, they got it all covered. But I guarantee you that that is not happening. Yes, there are special planes that do drop chemicals, and they're purposely done to play around with the weather and other things. It's not what you're seeing in the sky. Those are contrails. What happens when people go into this controversial state of mind, which I might get on my channel by saying these things, right? By telling you that there's not that evil out there that you believe, that all those planes out there aren't here to poison us. Now, you know, naturally chemicals come from jets and all planes, because we're using fuel, and that alone is poisoning our systems. I think that alone is doing its job. But the theory that this is purposely being done to poison people creates fear. Fear creates separation, and it keeps humanity in a low frequency, and thus right in the trajectory of self-destruction. Yeah, so that is conspiracy theory number one. Number two, aliens are evil. Well, yeah, because if we actually thought it'd be cool that they would come and help us, and you know, there are many times that nuclear facilities with weapons have been shut down as a demonstration that that's not going to be allowed. But we're told that they're evil and that they're out to get us and we're on their menu. They would have done it by now. But we have this idea that all this stuff's going on. Why? Because we're already in fear. So let's talk about alien abductions. As human beings, this is frightening. It seems wrong, but what do we do when we're trying to save a species? We have scientists that go out there and capture this species, perform all kinds of experiments on them. Well, not experiments so much, examinations, let's just say. Take blood, do all kinds of things, and then tag them. Yep, tag them and put them back. Sound familiar? Why do we think that's okay, yet when it happens to us, we think it's some insane, evil thing? Because people out there want you to go into fear and object to anything that's alien in nature and go into fear because it keeps them away from assisting us in a very positive way, which is exactly what they would do. So the longer we're in fear that they are evil and rotten, and those abductees, of course, with very little memory, all they have is a pretty negative memory of being captured. They can't possibly know the ultimate goal. Some have been told, but most, don't get the full-blown story of why this is happening. So they have memories that are very traumatic, just like the whales or the dolphins or whoever else we're picking up and putting back in. So as long as you believe they're evil, we stay in a state of, oh, it's okay to shoot them down or keep them away, when in truth, they are waiting to assist us. That's why they're not doing anything other than making their presence known so that we will go out of fear, realizing they're showing up, but they're not doing anything to us. Maybe what I'm hearing isn't true. Maybe they're just observing and saying, hi, we're here. And at some point, come down. Well, they've already done that many times. That is separation. Stay in fear and separation, and don't allow any assistance out there that could take us to a completely new world of new technology that doesn't pollute, all kinds of amazing things, healings, things that would put a lot of people out of business, that right now want you sick and want you in fear. That's number 2. All right, what's the third one? Well, there are plenty you can pick with our government and all kinds of institutions about all of the things that people do that are horrific, and that they're in some private clubs that are doing horrible things to children and all kinds of things. So one of my subscribers sent something that I loved. It was from a philosopher who, about getting any kind of, let's just say, gossip, says to ask 3 questions. The first one is what you're about to tell me true? And if the person says yes, because they believe the source they got was correct, the second question is, have you verified that this is true? Well, most people would have to say, no. Unless you're standing there and you saw the aliens or you saw the whatever ceremony going on, the answer would be no. And the third thing is what you're telling me contributing in some positive manner? Well, I'm warning you, no, that's not a positive manner. That's instilling fear based on things that are not facts nor verified. And the more we go into a state of taking responsibility for what we say and what we share and the information that we give, the more we will come out of conflict and go into solutions. I have a neighborhood email, maybe you do too. Somebody said that the algae that they were smelling, the stuff that they were smelling in the water was, and they gave a whole list of things. I said, well, before you actually post this to, millions of people here, did you verify that? Or is it possibly an algae that shows up this time of year? Was it tested? Well, the response was a whole slew of, not very nice stuff. Because the person didn't want to be wrong. And yes, there is all kinds of stuff going out there that is toxic to us. But was that particular thing that you said was ABC? Was it ABC or was it DENF? We do this all day long. Are you doing any of this? Are you falling for any of it? Are you falling for anything that keeps you separate or makes enemies from institutions, organizations, or people? Are you going into fear at all that the world is a big conspiracy and that all kinds of things are going on out there? It's called paranoia. And some of these things can sound pretty convincing. Personally, I haven't found any story yet that convinced me, and no real proof of anything. Now, I don't watch any of these conspiracy theories. I know they're out there, and I've heard some people talk about them. What positive outcome is coming from you talking about it, spreading it, watching it? You're not doing anything. When I was on my neighborhood email, I said, I belong to the Tampa Bay Waterkeepers. Do you? You're on here talking about it. Why don't we come together to do something about the chemicals being dumped in the waters? Because that is real, and that has been witnessed, and there are discussions about facts. But are you doing something to change it and taking action, or are you part of the fear that's spreading on things that you don't know are facts or not? Are you one of those people who believes in chemtrails? Have you done the homework? Have you thought about how many thousands of pounds and what it takes to put those chemicals into a plane and where it's coming out of? On a private jetliner? It's not happening. And so I'm not saying that there are some bad things going on out there, or there are people that do some things that, aren't good for the whole. But we have control over that. In other words, are you eating fast food? Do you use chemicals in your house, on your lawn? Do you tell yourself it's okay? We are the enemy that we oppose. We are actually fueling those who don't care if we're sick at the expense of whatever it is they're selling that's bad for our environment or our bodies. We're responsible for that. So let's start with that today. Look in your house and ask yourself if there are things that you can stop using that are going into the water systems that people are bathing their babies in, that are going out there on the lawns, that are seeping into all the waterways in the ground. We have to take charge. Are you going to drive-thrus or fast food places laden with chemicals and animals that are factory farmed, that are abused terribly, treated horribly in a world that doesn't have to exist if we don't support it? It's just that simple. And you're going to put no one out of business except for those who don't respect you or the planet. And they'll figure out a way to earn a living doing something productive or kind or that respect other people. And even if they don't, and they do it just for money, I'm okay with that. So do your best not to poison your planet. Keep your eyes focused on that which is highest and best. Watch positive videos. Meditate, because your thoughts are things. And the more you get sucked into those videos, the more you create it. That is quantum physics. Are you part of the conspiracy theory strategy? Are you participating in it? You know if you are or not. I'd love to talk more about this because it's a choice and we can't blame anybody anymore. We're that powerful. I would love it if you subscribe, and I have some free things down in the description. In fact, I have a free masterclass, 4 proven steps to manifest anything. You can change your life, anything. So come on over. I have all kinds of free stuff up here or down below. Ways for you to start businesses, ways for you to create businesses that don't pollute the planet, ways for you to change your thinking. I'm going to give you all kinds of tools, no excuses, because you're very important. You're actually whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. That's the essence of you. Are you ready to shine that beautiful light? I hope so. Namaste.